Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of Teaching Tales. I am Brent Coley, your host. I'm an elementary school principal in beautiful Southern California. And if you have listened before, thanks so much for tuning back in. And if this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is totally devoted to sharing stories from the world of education. Everyone loves hearing stories. That's what we're going to do. And today, I have an awesome storyteller as our guest, the amazing John Corippo. John, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's July 3rd, and I'm kind of got my vacation hat on right now, and I'm very chill today.
Very good. Yes, I am. This is the first day of my second week of vacation of 3 that I get. So I'm enjoying it as well. So John, Corey Orlando, our friend, she kind of put us in touch and said, you guys would be good to share some stories. So thank you, Corey. Shout out to Corey Orlando. And she also had a great idea for a topic of some stories that we could share. She calls them, I think, is it switch flip moments?
Yes, as in when the moment that the flip was switched, the switch was flipped. That plays hell on my dyslexia, I'm just saying. But yes, the thing that happened.
The thing that happens, yeah.
When the thing that happened, yes.
Otherwise known as maybe an aha moment, or I'm going to go ahead and call it a game-changing moment, because I think that's something that, like, it's going to be easier for us to say. But you said that you have a couple of those, and I've got a couple too. Do you want to start, like, share one of those moments where something happened that just completely was a game changer, changed the way you thought about education, how you went about your job in education, and so on?
Yeah. I would love to share like my I think I'm gonna share two, and then we might see how it goes. But okay. My first one was really the one that moved me from being if you can see my finger quotes, classroom teacher, different. Right. Yeah. Up until that moment, I had my little brood, and I was trying to be the best rock and roll teacher I could to those people. Right. And so I'm going to condense this story because it's my switch flip moment, game change moment is probably a 7-month story, but I'll give you the highlights. I'm going along minding my own business. One of the grandmothers at the local telephone company submits me for an award. One of her grandkids is in my class, right? So they call me and they're like, "Hey, John, we want to put you up for an award." And I'm like, "Hey, what's it for?" And they go, "Well, we don't really know you. We just needed somebody." And I was like, "Okay, all right, that's
so personal."
Super excited, yeah. So, long story short, about 6 weeks later, a $5,000 check shows up in my room, and I'm the Rural Educator of the Year for this small phone company consortium. That then gets me on the radar for a gal who invites me, a good friend of mine, Susan Pinnell. She invites me to go to this 1-week PD event in Ojai, California, called Teach the Teachers. And that was really, when I walked into that event, I was as nobody as you could be. I'd never been to Q. I'd never been to CVQ. I had nothing. Okay, I'm just a dude trying to teach. And I got to see Hall Davidson keynote, and it completely blew my mind about what education leadership looks like. He was using laser pointers. He was telling us that pretty soon you would be able to buy a video camera for about $100. And I was like, ha, 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 you are nuts.
Never going to happen.
Right. Like 4 months later, the flip cam comes out, right? This is years before iPhones, YouTube, all that stuff. But he had such a vision of what media could do to change pedagogy. And he talked about that cave painting was 45 or 50,000 years old as a human endeavor, whereas alphanumeric systems were only 4,500 years old. So our human inclination is to be a storyteller with visuals. And as an English teacher, my head's just like, oh, like nuclear bombs are coming. Right. So but that's still not the full flip switch moment or game change moment. I drove away from there, like, it was a 4-hour drive home, and I'm sure you've done this. You're just driving, your head's just like, what? Like, there's music playing in my car, but I can't hear it. I'm just like in the zone. So flash forward to the following January, I called the people that ran the camp, and I was like, "Hey, are you guys going to have that camp again?" And I don't know why, but Emmy Phillips says, "Well, would you like to be on faculty?" And I was like, I never really thought about, like, leading a thing. And so I still have the PDF handout for this. It's called The World's Cheapest Tech Coach. That was the name of my session, The World's Cheapest Tech Coach. and went back to Ojai, helped run the camp for a week, and right out of the gate went hands-on, experiential. Flash forward another 4 months, I'm sitting at an event. This lady walks by, Janie Rochford, taps me on the shoulder and goes, "You're John Corippo, you're going to work for me." And then she leaves, and I was like, what is that? So then she comes back a few minutes later. She goes, "My husband was in your session at Ojai this summer. All he says now is John Corippo says." And then she leaves again, and I'm like, who is this crazy lady? Well, to make a long story short, I ended up going to work for CTAP, for Fresno County office, based on that conversation.
Wow.
So that 8-ish months just changed everything for me, because then once that was a gigantic 6 months flip, right? Game change. But once that happened, I started going to all these events and all these conferences, and then my dissatisfaction with that, finger quotes are up again, my dissatisfaction with finger quotes conferences led to the Rockstar camps, which changed my entire career, right? So then that, and it went like that. It was like the old Fabergé commercial, and you told two friends and you told two friends. So for me, that was about a 7 or 8 month game change sequence, if you would, of moving from I'm just a dude in a classroom to, oh my God, I can participate in this conversation at a state level or a national level.
Yeah.
And so that was a big one for me.
That all started with a grandma recommending you for rural teacher of the year from a phone company that was the first domino to fall. And you are now, I mean, I got so excited about what we were going to talk about. I don't think I asked you, for anyone who is not familiar with, what do you do, John? I mean, I know what you do, but tell listeners who may not be familiar, what do you do?
I'd really like my official title to be, I'm a foot soldier in the war against ignorance. That's what I'd really like my official title to be. Awesome. And if anybody's seen Saving Private Ryan, you know, Tom Hanks is so presidential and so cool, right? And he's an English teacher. He's such a cool cat. Everything. That's not me at all. If you've watched Saving Private Ryan, I am Tom Sizemore, not. I'm the guy that throws his helmet and runs and spits everywhere and yells at people. But my actual job right now is I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for an organization called Q. We're a nonprofit in California, Nevada. We've got about 10,000 members. Over the last 2.5 years, I've worked really hard with Danielle Forst, and we've grown our impact. The amount of teachers that we work with, we were averaging around 2,700 a year. Now, this last year, we served 22,000 teachers.
Wow.
In addition to the 2 conferences that serve about another 9,000. So we're now at the cusp of working with around 30,000 teachers a year, and I'm really excited about that. But back to the Tom Sizemore aspect is, I just really see myself to this moment as a classroom teacher. The whole I'm an administrator thing really never set in. I'd prefer to not wear a tie. I'd prefer to go play soccer with the 6th graders. I really see myself as a 6th grade educator that has a different network, if that makes sense. That
you're reaching more than 35 kids or 100 kids or whatever. Yeah, you're reaching.
And it's kind of like,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like my class is all these teachers now, and I'm not trying to take off with anybody's career. I'm saying the people that want to collaborate and share, because they share back with me just as much as I share with them.
Sure.
But that's my class now is all those teachers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Well, it's amazing how the world we live in now, with organizations like Q and with Twitter and things like that, where an idea, a person's blog post or something like that can be shared, and the next thing you know, in the story like you, it's like you went from being recommended to something to now being in charge of and affecting tens of thousands of educators in an incredibly positive way. So I'm one of those.
Crazy. Yeah. And if you look at the friend group that I kind of launched this with, I'll list my friend group: Will Kimbley, Alice Keeler, Jim Sill, all local people, Mike Niehoff, right? All just local folks right here that have become Apple Distinguished Educators, Google Certified Teachers, and all those kinds of things. So it was a really unique group, but I see room for lots more people. There's tons of people coming on board all the time that have a ton of energy and passion and creativity. And what I like about it is we are slowly re-landscaping what it is to be an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my goal right there. It's nothing less. To what does educator mean? And one of my favorite tweets from, I think it was 2 summers ago, is when you're a Q Rockstar teacher and school gets out, you speed up.
That's great. Yeah,
right? You're getting on planes, you're getting on trains, you're meeting people, you're building stuff. Like the old days would be, it's the last day of school, I'm going to park school until the week before school, right? And that is totally changing.
Oh, now as I look through my Twitter feed, all I'm seeing is the books that people are reading. They're snapping pictures of whether it's Lead Like a Pirate or Kids Deserve It or Innovator's Mindset. I mean, it's kind of like, and they don't just have one or two. They're taking pictures of like 5 or 6 books that says, "Here's my summer reading list."
Right. Assing, right? It's like this is becoming part of the being an edupreneur, is Mike Niehoff's phrase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Selling your ideas, in some cases for free, but selling your concepts and your educational passion and things like, just like what you're doing with this podcast, is becoming the way that you become a de facto excellent educator now. You can't not do this part and be excellent. It's just impossible.
Exactly.
You could be really good. You could be really good. But if you don't know what's going on in classrooms that's best in class, best in the world level, how can you grow?
Yeah. Yeah.
Logically impossible to not participate and be your best. It's impossible.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. Gone are the days of give me my keys, show me to my room, and leave me alone. Because there's too much good stuff out there that we can take in. But also conversely, I think, like you had said, there's so much there that we can give away to others, because I always like to say, I've said it over and over and over, somebody online is Googling right now, searching for what you have, for what you do in your classroom, what
already done, right?
Or what you've already done. Exactly. Somebody is looking for that, and we've got to share that. So, did you have I mean, I've got one, but I'll defer back to you. Do you have another?
No, I want to hear one of yours.
Okay. Well, mine happened in my second year of teaching, and it was one of those. It's not nearly as grand as the story that you told, but it's one that really resonates with me when I think of game-changing moments. This is my 21st year in education. This was my second year, yet I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in the copy room of the office.
The copy room.
Yeah, exactly. It was about 6:30 p.m. And I still had a ton to do. And it was one of those epiphany, just light bulb moments where it hit me. The exact words, the thought that I had was, I'm never going to get it all done.
Right. And then you were at peace with that.
Exactly. It's like
you let it go. You're like, what?
Yes. And it was such a liberating experience, because I remember thinking, I could stay here till midnight. There will always be
the pit will always be there. Yep.
There will always be something else to do. And I remember I took my stuff, went back to my room, dropped it on my desk, and I went home. And it was so for anybody listening, it's like, if you have not yet had that realization, this would be my encouragement to you, is you need to go home to your family, because no matter how late you work, there's always going to be something left to do, something more to do. So, and now I'm not going to lie to anybody listening and saying that I don't struggle with that, because I do tend to stay at work more than I need to, or more than I should. And my family suffers sometimes because I'm not there as much as I should be. But I have come to that realization, and you said it perfectly. It was so peaceful when I had that realization that, you know what, this will keep. This will keep. I don't need to do this right now, because there's nothing I can do right now. I can't solve this problem right now. So that for me was a game-changing moment. In year two.
Let me reflect on that. I have a double game change that took 20 years to happen.
Yeah.
But it was a similar but opposite realization of what you had. When I was growing up, my dad was sort of the COO sales guy for a contracting firm, for construction firm. And he was maniacal about the trucks will be washed and the yard will be raked and the logo will be on things. You know, he's just crazy about that and super organized. And one day he grabbed me and he said, "See that coffee maker? It's been broken for 2 months." There are the kind of people that'll walk by that coffee maker all year, and there are the kind of people that will fix it.
Mm.
Now, that wasn't the big idea. The big idea that he said was, if you make one or two things better in your work environment every day, if you have a concerted effort every day to make one or two things better, at the end of the year, you will fix 400 things. You will be 400 things better. And one of them just might be the coffee maker.
Wow.
So I put that in the back of my head, right? And I was like, oh, that was big. So then about, must have been 12, 15 years later, I'm working with a guy named John Baxter at Fresno State. He's their incoming academic coach and special teams coach. And he moved them from being second lowest GPA in the NCAA to second highest GPA in the NCAA. And he's a machine. He is a creating machine. I mean, he just creates and creates and creates. He makes me feel inadequate. And was that he talked about, though, was everybody gets 168 hours a week.
Mm.
Nobody gets more. Everybody gets the same. And what you put your time on is what will determine your success.
Mm.
And those two things together really blew my mind because I attached to what John Baxter said to what my dad said. And now I'm going to hook into what you said, right? The pit is bottomless.
Yeah.
But if I can make one or two things systematically better every day.
Yep.
See, so it's key to not just be in the system. It's key to fix it while you're going.
Amen.
And what I see a lot of people do, and this is not just teachers and this is not just admins, this is just people, they go to work and they try to survive. If you just go and survive every day, you will never make the system better. If you don't make the system better, the bottomless pit you're talking about gets more bottomless.
Yeah.
You never feel like I got anywhere. So that's I'm reflecting on yours with mine. That's how I am able to not come unglued, because there's so many things to fix, right? There's so many things to fix.
And if you think about how many people you are in an organization, I mean, like, for example, at my school, we've got about 70 staff members. If everybody fixed one thing, and the coffee maker example, while some may listen and say, oh, it's a coffee maker, what's the coffee for many, coffee is life. I mean, they can't get through the day. So that could actually make such a huge impact on somebody. Hey, somebody fixed the coffee maker. If 70 people each went about fixing something small, those smalls are going to add up, and it's going to be potentially game-changing for the organization, for the school, for wherever it is that you're operating on a daily basis.
Yep.
Awesome.
But if you're not inherently making the systems better, it's that old saying, the difference between stress and being challenged at work is if you like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you've got to be making the systems better as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, you want to come to work. And if you're working with people who are of a like mindset and wanting to improve and not just complain, but oh, something's broken, how can we fix it? How can we work together and fix it? Then you're wanting to come to work.
And then so that's led to me being able to do some things where I say, oh my gosh, I can't spend my weekends lesson planning because it's going to kill me. I can't spend 3 hours every night grading because it's going to kill me.
Yeah.
I can't, you see where the pattern is? So now, once I have this perspective of I've only got 168 hours a week and I've got to fix some things every day, all of it starts to happen. It all starts to come together. I can actually make systems that keep me happy and comfortable. When I'm happy and comfortable, I'm a better teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy. When people are happy, they're going to be more productive. They're going to be more fun to be around. So, I mean, people like to be around happy people. Awesome. So yep. You had another story?
Yeah. I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to take based on this conversation. But I'll tell you that the one I'm probably going to go with is when we started up Minarets High School. Mike Niehoff and I got to start a high school from scratch. Awesome. And in a district that had never had a high school. So we got to handpick all the staff, all this Yeah, it was really neat. And we went MacBooks, and we started at 9 a.m. and we went with Google. That high school has never been anything but Google. They've never been anything but one-to-one.
Wow.
And so here was my switch flip moment, though. I went along planning, building, and in my head, I could not wait for the first day of school because it was going to be straight on utopia. The kids would like all the work. Do you see where this is going? The kids would like all the work. The teachers would understand the plan. Oh my gosh. By about the end of September, I was like, oh, this is bad. This might be worse than regular.
This is not going the way I planned.
At least in regular high school, the kids are afraid of the teachers and work. My kids aren't even working at all. So that was a big switch flip moment for me because I realized here it comes. You ready for this? Because this is another double game change moment. Is that 3 years later, I'm sitting at a table at SETPA listening to IT directors talk, and I realized this. If you give kids devices and Wi-Fi, student achievement will not go up.
And you cut out. Did you say if you give kids, students, and devices and Wi-Fi, achievement will not go up?
It will not go up. Okay. Scores. I'm putting my finger quotes up. Scores will not go up. Your CASP scores will not go up. Your grade books will not improve. You know why? Because the teachers are still on a freaking bell curve. Which means
pedagogy. It's got to start with pedagogy.
Which means you have a MacBook, but you still have a D, because I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually got to change the entire system to make it work.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of neat things about adding one-to-one so that the kids can make slides or cruise the internet or whatever. But it's not going to get you the results you want from just giving them devices.
No.
So that's helped me redouble my efforts on pedagogy over technology and culture. And so that was another big one for me. I'm really able to kind of like be like Iron Man and focus everything right here on my power thing in my chest. I'm like, no, that will not work. I've seen it in real life. It ain't going to work. Yeah. You're going to have to change more than that, because if teachers are still comfortable with a fare thee well attitude coming out of core classes, sorry, kid. Some people are meant to be ditch diggers or dishwashers. As long as the teachers maintain that perspective, and the reason they do that is to give themselves plausible deniability emotionally. Mm-hmm. They can look in the mirror in the morning and say, "Oh, I tried my best." Well, trying your best does not count in any number of things. Yeah. Especially school. Yeah. You don't go to war and say, "Well, I tried my best, but I lost half my guys." I tried my best. We trained. I told them what to do. That's not acceptable. And the reality of it is, I saw a really cool John Stossel thing shoot 12 or 15 years ago, maybe closer to 20 years ago. And in it, he shows that statistics that being murdered, dying in a plane crash or a car crash literally take minutes off of your life as a potential risk. Poverty takes 5 years off your life.
Wow.
Poverty takes 5. So I am literally killing kids when I'm not saving them. There's no in between.
Yeah.
If you're not saving them, you're killing them. You're dooming them to a life of poverty. A life of poverty is more dangerous than murder, air crashes, car crashes, smoking. Smoking only takes days off your life. And we're terrified of smoking, but we're not terrified of poverty. I really want you to think about that for a second. We're not terrified of poverty. Well, they didn't do their flashcards, so that's where they are.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, I taught it. They didn't learn it.
They didn't learn it. Yeah. That's the cliche.
It's the is it Wormley? Is it Rick Wormley?
Yeah, Rick Rick's my hero. Love
my gosh. He talks in one of his talks that I've watched, and he talks about the penalty for not doing work is doing your work. I will haunt your worst nightmares because if you accept not doing it, you're telling students that the assignment was meaningless. It was optional.
Right.
There was no learning objective. And so there is no, well, what if I don't do it? There is no if. You will do it. And
Everybody does everything. That's my motto. Everything. I had a nice little game change moment that we can sort of wrap up because I think we're probably getting towards the end of our time. I was maybe 6 years ago. I was at an event watching a first-year teacher share, and she did a pretty good job. She was doing her presentation, doing a pretty good job, but she had this one magical thing. She said, "I never give extra credit, ever, because kids will." Especially now that they have their grade book all the time, they will sit at 84, 86, 87% and then try to rush the gate at the last second for an A.
Yeah.
Because they're gaming right now. They're saying, what's the least energy I can put out?
Yeah.
And this is very Rick Wormelli right here. What's the least energy I can put out to stay within striking range of an A? And then with 2 days to go, what they want to do is they jump out and they say, can I do one more stupid report to get those 5 points? And then if they can't, then they blame the teacher to their parents. They go to their parents and go, yeah, I don't know. She's crazy. He's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with that guy.
Yeah. Which reminds me.
So here's the fix.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just, that reminds me of, it's very similar as homework passes. When you mention extra credit, I have, from the very beginning, I am philosophically opposed to homework passes. And I may offend somebody who's listening right now, but because
you devalue it.
By doing that, exactly. You're saying that here's the assignment. Oh, but if you have this piece of paper, you don't have to do it.
Well, you know what
you're basically,
what it's saying to me is you guys hate this work so much that I can award you by having you not do the work that you hate. I don't know. I don't like that economy.
No, we got to make any assignments in class. I mean, there's a whole different discussion about homework, but just the whole if there's a rule, if something, anytime you make an exception or like, it completely devalues the assignment. You're telling the kids, and kids are smart. If you give them a homework pass, you're saying that sometimes it'll be you can't use it on this assignment, but you can use it on that assignment. So what you're saying is that assignment is worthless. This assignment is important enough that you can't skip it. And that's not good. So you were saying, I think I interrupted you. My apologies.
So the plan goes like this. There's no extra credit ever, ever, ever. If you turn in your assignment late, now this is Wormelli. If you turn in your assignment late, there's a points penalty, and I don't care what it is, but I need things they need to come in timely, or you'll get devalued. And there's nothing innovative there. That's very normal, right? If you don't turn it on time, the best you can get is a C or whatever. But then here's where it gets fun. The only way you can get extra points in my class is to turn in work early. So think about this. We have a project that's due in 2 weeks. If you'll turn it in at least one full day early, guess what you get? Bonus points for being early.
I like it.
Now here's what happens. Those same kids that that'll game and sit at 84%, they realize that if they turn in their assignment early, they can basically guarantee themselves an A. And what happens is they'll show me their assignment and go, what's my grade? And I'll go, oh, remember you're supposed to have 4 sources and 5 pictures, and you've only got 3 sources and 2 pictures. And I give them a quick look over and I go, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So with the bonus points, you're at a 72% right now with the bonus points. And the kid's like, well, whoa, I can fix that in like 10 minutes. What would my grade be?
Go for it.
Yeah. Stuff out. And what happens is their grades start going through the roof because they're gaming it the right way.
Yeah, the right way. Yep. Awesome.
And I've watched with that one pedagogical shift, I've watched my GPAs go up as a class. In general, they go up a full point.
That's
across
awesome.
the board.
And what an easy shift to make. I mean, from the teacher's perspective, that's not extra work on the part of the teacher. And I love when you were saying that, I was thinking, because I've had kids come in early and say like, here, Mr. Coley, here's my thing. And then you say, hey, I noticed got a couple mistakes here. You want to go fix that? Because you still have time. Oh yeah, I'll go fix it. By encouraging them to bring it in early, work quality is going to improve.
I'm making that the culture.
Yeah.
Industriousness is the culture. So going back to where you started with it, valuing the work. Yeah. Value the work in real time. Don't value the work later.
Yeah.
Value the work now.
Yeah.
Value this work.
Formative.
Don't value.
Formative assessment, formative feedback the whole time. So that's
actually doing is getting them to practice perfect assignments instead of just turning them in. And I will quote Ezra. Ezra said, I watched Ezra in one of our English classes hand in a piece of paper, and his English teacher looked at the front and then looked at the back and said, Ezra, the back is blank. And he said, can I just get a D?
Mm. Ooh. No. And if we accept, if we say, well, not, we cannot accept that. We cannot accept that. Wow. Powerful stuff, John. Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. This was good stories, good conversation. I hope people listening were as encouraged and inspired as I was. I have heard you keynote. I have been in your sessions at Q conferences and things like that, and you are the man. So I really thank you for taking the time.
I'm thrilled and honored to be able to share some of the things that I've just happened to bump into. And remember, as I said earlier, my goal here is to look at the results we're getting and change the results. And you want to change the results, you better change the input.
Mm. Yep.
And I've been lucky enough to be in small districts where I've been allowed to run wild and try some things and find out what works and doesn't work. Because I guarantee you, everything does not work.
No.
Everything I've tried does not work, guarantee.
No, and that's if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to continue to get the same results. And to think otherwise is the definition of insanity. So, well, John, thank you again. I really appreciate it. For anyone listening who is not already following you, where can they find John Corippo online?
Oh, the Twitters is the easiest place.
Mm-hmm. Jay Corippo, right?
Yeah. At Jay Corippo. Don't go to John Corippo. That's my old account.
Okay.
I lost the password. Total disclosure, I lost the password for my old account. I'll try to recover it someday. So at Jay Corippo, and then Facebook's a good place to find me. Just John Corippo. There's not a lot of us. There's two, I think. There's me and JOHN Corippo. But you'll know if you got the right one.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks again, John, and thanks everyone for listening. Again, appreciate it. Hope you got some